Hey everybody, how's it going? So today I want to go over this IRP program a little bit more in depth. And before I go over this program whereby Apple is going to be offering independents the opportunity to purchase parts from them, before we get into any of it, I just want to explain a little more why I was so appreciative yesterday of this, even though this program doesn't give us everything that we were looking for. Well, I said that anytime a company takes a step towards doing something that you are advocating for, changing in a positive way, that you should show you appreciate it so that people involved in that change don't feel like it was done for nothing. Many people see Apple as a single entity, but the reality is Apple's a corporation made up of thousands and thousands of people, and many of those thousands of people don't necessarily all think the same, and they don't necessarily agree with one another. So I believe that this type of shift may have occurred because there are people at the company that disagree with Apple's practices when it comes to Apple authorized service providers and independent repair. They may watch my videos or Jess's videos and think that guy is kind of an ass, but he has a point. Or I like that guy. I'd like to see our products be more repairable. I'd like to see us be more friendly to independent repair. And those individuals may have pushed and said, I'd like to see our company culture change to embrace repair a little bit. Now, even if they were not able to get us everything that we wanted on the first try due to inter-office company politics, or because that individual was not able to influence people at the executive level to get exactly what we wanted, I don't think that the individuals responsible for pushing for that change within the company should be punished just because they weren't able to get everything across. I want the individuals who at Apple sought out to have this program be created be complimented in some way for their efforts, because for all we know, they may have wanted us to have our complete wish list, but they were simply unable to achieve it while they were advocating for it due to internal company politics or anything like that. So I genuinely do appreciate it, and I do think that any time a step is made in the right direction, we should show appreciation so that the individuals involved don't feel like it was just a waste. Like, damn, I really put effort and I tried and I put my neck out on the line for this, and just because I didn't get those people exactly what they wanted, they hate us. Screw that, I'm never helping them again. I really like to avoid that kind of nonsensical, unnecessary negativity. That being said, since more details have been released on how this policy works, I think it would be good to look through. Now, just to be clear, this is a leak. This is not documentation that I've received direct from Apple. I got this in my YouTube comments. It's a paste bin with a leak of the details, and I had one person that's an AASP email me and say those prices seem legit, but just to be clear, this is not documentation from Apple. I just don't want to do any of that, you know, what major newspapers do nowadays and say an anonymous source and pretend that it's fully verified when it's not. That being said, let's just look through and see what we have here. So there were a few points of concern here that I wanted to discuss with you. The first that many people had was warranty. So it says here, if you're an Apple authorized service provider, you get Apple 90-day repeat repair coverage, whereas with the unauthorized, you don't. Now, there is a bit of concern as to whether or not that interpretation means that there's no warranty on the part, or does that mean that we're simply not going to reimburse you again. There's no reimbursement for labor if the part is bad. Now, my interpretation of this is that if the part is bad, we will replace the part, but we are not going to pay your technician to have to reinstall it into the phone again, whereas maybe with an AASP they would. That's my interpretation. Some other people are interpreting this to say that Apple is selling the part as is and not even providing a warranty on that part if it fails. So if I install a screen into a customer's phone, let's say I bought that screen from Mobile Centrics, which happens to have quite a few crap in their iPhone 5 and 5S bin, but that's for another video. Let's say I buy a part from Mobile Centrics and it doesn't work. They offer a warranty, so I can return the part to Mobile Centrics. They'll send me a new one. When I used to run my supply business back from 2011 to 2014, if you bought an iPhone screen from me and it died, we had a warranty. We would say, you know, send it back, we'll send you a new one. Some people are saying that this means that they don't have a warranty, and I don't think that that is true, because I don't even think that that's illegal. I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to sell a part and just sell it as is. But that's one thing that I would like clarification on. The next thing that I would like to get to here is the actual pricing for the parts, and this is in Canadian dollars. There's exchange pricing and stock pricing. So first, let's talk about the difference between exchange pricing and stock pricing. Exchange pricing means that that's the price that you would sell me the part for if I agree to send the old one back to you. Whereas stock pricing means this is the price to simply buy the part outright and keep the old one. So these prices are in Canadian dollars. So let's just go through some of these, and I'm going to start with the 6S. All right, actually, well, let's start with the batteries. So with batteries, it looks like the battery firstly, over here, they're heavily trying to get you with the exchange pricing. They really don't want old batteries. They don't trust you to be recycling them yourself. It's 33.15 Canadian over here for a battery, and let's just see what that is in America dollars. So 33 CAD to USD. Yeah, so you're looking at like 24.70, so like 25 bucks for a battery. To get an OEM battery where you know that it's going to work like the original, that's honestly very fair. I don't, you know, again, that's going to cut into your profit margin somewhat, but I'm totally fine with that. Again, it's just because maybe I'm out of touch because I don't make my living as much off of iPhone screens and batteries as we used to in the past. But just to know that the battery that I put in your phone is going to have good capacity, is going to be a battery that lasts, is not going to be one of those batteries where when you hit 11 or 15% and then open up a game, the phone crashes kind of thing. That's pretty fair pricing. Now, that whole the difference in the exchange pricing here versus stock, this is a bit. Like, I mean, really, you're telling me that this is a bit much. So the whole idea typically behind exchange pricing is you may be able to refurbish the part that I give you back or reuse some parts of it, so that may be worth some money here. But you're selling the battery for 33 Canadian dollars, and then you're asking for $132 if I want the battery without sending the old one back. Damn. And over here, the batteries for the more expensive phones cost a little more, but that's fair. Now let's get to the 6S display, because this is the part where it got a little wonky to me. So let's just open up my my little Google thing here. So let's see. So for the 6S display, if you want to buy the screen by itself, 190 CAD to USD, so you would be looking at $148.24 to buy the part by itself. Or if you want to do the exchange program, you're looking at $117.03 for the iPhone 6S screen. Now, again, as I've said, it would be nice to be able to have access to original screens, and I have no problem with them selling screens and setting the rate for them however they want. However, in my experience over the past 10 years, my experience has been this when it comes to dealing with iPhone screens. If you tell somebody, a lot of people will say that they want an original screen, but then they'll also ask about price. And in my experience, over 10 years, whether I'm offering them, here you get an original level quality screen, here you get a knockoff level quality screen, here's what they look like, here's the prices. Most times, when there's a price differential that's this high, people are going to go for the knockoff. So if I say to, let's say, to fix your iPhone, it's 70 bucks for the knockoff good screen, 90 bucks for the original level quality good screen, people will go for the extra 20 bucks. But if there's not all people, I would say maybe 20 to 30% of them, but then if there's a large difference like here, where we're talking about there being maybe, let's say, a $70 to $90 difference, most people are going to go for the knockoff quality if it's a good one. So one of the things that we used to do a long time ago is I would have two iPhone 4s in the front of the store, and I would say, this is the screen that we're going to use, this is the screen that my competitor is using when I knew the supplier of them. And most people chose the good screen because the difference in price here was, we were fixing the iPhone 4S for $65 and my competitor was doing it for $50. So there, the price difference was small to get a much better screen. People were okay with it. But if it was a difference between, let's say, $50, $65 and $150, then that's where it starts to become something where I think consumers are not going to go for the original. Now, one of the other things to consider here is that I don't like to think of it as 2 tiers of screens, but rather 3 tiers. There's original, there's good aftermarket stuff, and there's trash aftermarket stuff. Trash aftermarket, in my opinion, has no space in this business, but good aftermarket stuff is actually pretty good. So Mobile Centrics has screens that, at least not for the 5 and the 5S, like no 5 and 5S screens for Mobile Centrics, but for the 6, 6S, and so on, they're actually pretty good. So here you have your garbage tier, your $12.53. I don't touch those. You have your good aftermarket, $17. Again, try to avoid that. And then you have what they call premium quality refurbished. So that's typically original LCD, and it will have new glass and everything put on it, and typically they try to have that glass be as close to the quality as original as possible. These are really good, and they're $29.51. So there's a vast difference in quality, just to be clear, between the $12 garbage and the $29 garbage. But there's a very small difference, if you're even going to notice it, and I would argue that you would never notice it, unless you're a professional refurbisher, putting chemicals on the glass to see if the oleophobic coating is the same, between the $29 screen and the $117 screen. So the difference between the 12 to 29, worth it. That is a jump that's worth making. The difference between the $29 one and the $117 one, that's going to be a jump that's really difficult to sell to customers. And I think that there's going to be a lot of customers that say, I want an original screen. And I think they're going to be, they're really going to want that original screen. But when you just simply put the prices in front of them and show them the reality, they're going to go, no. Just no. And I used to do that. I used to say, here's my competitor screen. Here's what I use. Here's an original iPhone 4. Now, most people, they couldn't tell the difference between the iPhone 4 screen from an original iPhone 4 and mine. But they could easily tell the difference between mine and the competitor. So at the time, I was paying about $30 for a good screen and charging $65. My competitor was paying $20 for a shit screen and charging $50. The difference between $20 and $30 was ginormous, but the difference between the $30 screen and the, came out of the Apple Store one is virtually indistinguishable. So it's going to be shades of gray there. Now, one of the things that also has to be kept in mind here when it comes to the way consumers think is going to be the actual pricing of the device. So, as I've said before, typically repair cannot cross 33 to 40% of a device's cost on the used market, or else people are going to say, I don't want to do it. Once it goes above 33 to 40%, they're going to decline the repair. So let's take a look over here on eBay and just get an idea of what it would be if we wanted to get an iPhone 6s phone. So if you want to buy an iPhone 6s, you can buy it here for, let's just take a look at some of these sellers. So we got as low as $100 to $150. Some of them go up to $234. Let's just take a look at some of the ratings of these sellers. So here, this is a seller with 99.1% positive feedback. Looks like over here, looks like this dude has got over 2 million feedbacks. If I wanted to buy an unlocked, I want rose gold, like the Gizmodo editor that said that my complaint about the MacBook keyboards was dumb, even though it literally wound up coming true, is $154. But I'm not salty. I love Gizmodo and Gawker, quality sources of journalism. Over here, it's $154 for the phone. From this seller, this has got 99.9% positive feedback. So forget about the dude 99.1. I want to go with the 99.9% positive feedback. 16 gigabyte phone. I want it to be silver. If I want a 16 gig phone, it's actually cheaper for me to buy the phone in good condition than it actually is to buy not even the entire phone, not even like a casing board, but just to buy the screen. So let me just repeat that. It's cheaper to actually purchase the phone than it is to buy the screen from Apple. And that's including the trade-in value. So I'm giving you an iPhone 6s screen that may actually have a good LCD inside of it that just needs a new glass. I'm giving you a good LCD. For $117, you're giving me back a screen that actually costs $2 more than the phone on the refurbished market. And that's something to be thinking about. Here we have let's see, this is another listing from that same individual. Silver, let's say I choose 64 gigabytes, unlocked, condition, okay, he's out of stock of A, B stock is this. Let's see if I change any of these parameters here, if we can get an A stock. So yeah, if I want an A stock 16 gigabyte phone, I want a phone that looks damn near good as new, I'm paying $134. So it costs less than $20 more to actually replace the phone than it does to simply buy the screen. Now, what's going to happen with these prices, in my estimation, is going to be that most people are going to elect to not fix the phone, or to fix the phone with the screen that's 99% as good, but costs $29.51. And again, I'm happy that these parts are being made available. By all means, it's a good thing for consumer choice for these parts to be made available. I think it's a positive thing that you can actually make the choice. Even if I think that less than 5% of the people that visit independent repair shops are actually going to go for these options. I strongly believe it's less than 5% of the people are going to go for those options when $117 gets you a screen this good, $29.51 gets you a screen that's this good, $12 to $17 gets you a screen that's this good. Most people are going to go for the screen that's $29.51 for their customer. And this is particularly true if we're dealing with the case of the screens from Apple actually having a worse warranty on them than what you would get from a company like Mobile-Centric's. So, I mean, if I were just to simply Google something like Mobile-Centric screen warranty policy, let's just get an idea of what it is they offer. Again, I'm not a shill, I said that the 5 and 5S screens, even if you buy the premium, are kind of shit. But let's just take a look. So it says that they actually have a lifetime warranty on their products, which is pretty good. I mean, even if I'm complaining about the fact that I got 2 or 3 batches of screens that weren't exactly great, lifetime warranty. That shows some confidence in the product. That seems to be a greater warranty than what Apple's offering. So I can buy refurbs, or I could actually buy aftermarket screens that have a better warranty than the ones that are coming out of the Apple repair program. And one of the things that people talk about when they talk about independent repair is they'll say, you know, what if it breaks again? What if they're doing sloppy work? What if they, you know, hang you out to dry on day 91 or something when it comes to warranty? One of the things I think is really interesting here is that a lot of the companies in the industry that are selling these types of parts are actually offering better warranties than Apple is offering on their own. Now, the other thing that we have to point out here, to be fair to Apple, because I do think it's important to be fair anytime we're having these discussions, is that this is, when it comes to lots of other phones, the screens are going to be expensive. I'm particularly pointing out the fact that I think the 6S LCD is a little on the high side, because we're not talking about AMO LED, we're not talking about some super expensive technology. That's a plain-ass LCD screen in there. Now, let's just go over something like Samsung parts, just to be fair here, because screens are, you know, it's not, I'm not saying that Apple's the only company doing this by any means, or a stretch of the imagination. If we take a look at something like Samsung parts, I actually tried to figure out what they would cost from their own website. Their own website was pretty bad. So when I was going to SamsungParts.com, half of the time that I was looking for parts, an error occurred on the site. Please try a request again. It's not exactly great. I was trying to find some stuff for the Samsung S7. If we look for LCD screen over here, I click LCD, I hit go. Here we go. No longer available, no longer available, no longer available. Now if I hit LED instead of LCD, let's see what we get there. Maybe we'll get some different type of screen. Okay, this is just, no, that's not it at all. So now if we take a look at some other websites, here you've got 89 euros, which is going to be pretty expensive, and this is again not from Samsung, it's parts for GSM, so they're using a number instead of a word, which is how you know you're definitely getting OEM from them. We have this eBay listing over here, which is says, yeah, this is for the original, $174. Again, this is not even being sold directly from Samsung. This is being sold on eBay. A lot of these assemblies for these newer phone screens are expensive, and I just do want to make it clear. Now, let's just say we were look for a screen for, let's say, an LG G8. That's the phone that I have right now. Again, this is not even off of LG's own website. We're not even talking about guaranteed OEM. And we're talking $164 for a screen. So as the phones do get newer, the screens do get more expensive. And one of the things that is actually good about Apple products, and I'll give them some credit here, is that since they have such a really at least in the past, they had such a streamlined set of phones and such a large user base for those streamlined set of phones, since there was only one device in a year that would come out, or maybe one or two devices, and so many people had them, there was a lot of demand made to create screens for them. And when you have a lot of demand, that means more demand, more people are going to be in the market, more people in the market, more competition, lower prices. So you're more likely to find these types of affordable options when it comes to Apple devices than you are with a Samsung device or an LG device. I mean, if I were to go to MobileCentrix's site right now and take a look, let's say I try to look for stuff for the LG G8. I mean, I'm looking at an LCD screen right now without the frame, and it's $140 part by itself. So just to be clear, I'm not trying to make it sound like Apple's the only place doing this. What I'm saying is that this program, as it has been released, while it is progress, I don't think that many consumers are going to be affected by it, because I don't think most consumers are going to go for these prices. You know, again, let's just take a look at something like the iPhone XS display. So let's just convert that. So we got 307. Here we go. Yeah, let's just do that. You know, like for the iPhone XS, you're looking at $238 for the screen. I mean, I think most consumers that are going to independent repair are still going to be using the knockoffs. Now, the next thing to go into regarding this article is that we are really only covering iPhone screens and batteries here. So we're covering the screen and the battery. This is not covering the charge port. So one of the criticisms that I had in an old video is that if you call up the store and say, I have an iPhone 6S and my headphone jack isn't working, the only thing that they offer you is replacing the phone for about $349, and they don't even back up your data in the process of replacing the phone and transfer to the new one, which kind of sucks. Whereas independent repair is just going to go online, you're going to buy a charge port for $5 or $20, and then you're going to put it in the phone for $50 to $70, and they're going to fix your phone. Here, there's no volume buttons here, there's no home buttons here, there's no power buttons here, there's no charge ports here or anything like that. So it is still fairly limited. This is not a program that while I'm happy and I'm genuinely appreciative of the individuals at Apple that push for them to be more repair-friendly, and I accept this olive branch for what it is, for the most part it seems to be somewhat symbolic in nature, not something that's actually practically useful. Just because, again, if charge port, nope. Power button, nope. Volume button, nope. It's just screen and battery. And we're not even getting to the notion of schematics, diagrams, board views, anything like that. That doesn't seem to be covered here. And that is something, those are all the stuff that we use to do data recovery. You know, can I get a TriStar chip or anything else? It doesn't seem like this is going to open up or give us access to companies like NXP or Intersil to not have these exclusivity agreements, because those are the items that really hurt. You know, I want to buy an ISO 9240, so somebody who's bought this $3,500 or $7,000 brand new, fully spec'd out, decked out MacBook Pro doesn't charge anymore because he used the knockoff charger. I'd like to be able to replace that chip, but right now I have to buy a 10S external charger or something, rip the charging chip off of it, reball it, and put it onto your machine, just so that I can get an ISO 9240. That part of our business has not actually changed at all. The fact that, you know, I still have to go to, you know, random websites like Mobile Centrics if I want to buy charge ports, that hasn't changed at all, or headphone jacks, or power buttons, or anything like that. Now, one thing that I think is important here, because there are many people saying that this is an attempt to screw over independent repair, just to be clear that what is being quoted here are AASP prices. So it says AASP pricing for parts. So this isn't something that is exclusive to independent repair. If you take a look at this, independent repair is actually getting the exact same price as the AASP. And one thing I've said for a long time on this channel is that being an AASP, in my opinion, is not a good business decision. I don't think that there's a lot of money to be made doing that, and I also don't think you get to service your customers very well as an AASP. So the prices that we're getting are the same as the AASP prices. And the parts that we have access to are the same parts that the AASPs have access to, which in theory sounds good, but the problem that we've always had is that even the AASPs don't have access to anything worthwhile. As I've shown in the video that I linked to many times, you can call an AASP, you can say my charge port doesn't work, and it's $350 to replace the phone without recovering your data. So even if your phone actually works, fully functional, the battery just needs to be charged, there's no option to get your data, even if literally all you need is another charge port to be plugged in so you could charge it up, so you could email yourself a file on your phone or something. And that's part of the problem here. So when this program says that independents will have access to the exact same parts that Apple authorized service providers have access to, it's good, but one of the things that we do need to remember is that Apple authorized service providers, for the most part, have access to jack shit. Again, they have access to very few parts. And the parts they do have access to, some of them, like the batteries, are fairly priced. Some of them, like the screens, while fairly priced for the newer ones, I don't think fairly priced for the old ones. Because again, you're looking at you're looking at that basic LCD screens being priced the same way that AMOLED screens are priced, which is a bit on the high side. But anyway, these prices, while fair for the phone industry in general, are not going to be something that's competitive in the market for fixing a phone that's 3 or 4 years old. Because if you have an iPhone XS, I completely understand. If you paid $1,200 for your phone, if you paid $1,200 for your phone, $200 to $300 to get a good screen for it, that's fine. But if you paid $500 to $600 for your iPhone 6s, it's 3 years old, it's worth $125 on eBay. Do you really want to pay $117 part cost by itself to get a screen for that device? I think while it's good to have the consumer choice, most customers are most likely going to say no. So this doesn't really change much. Hopefully, this gives you an idea of how this program affects us, how it affects small businesses, how it affects the repair industry. And also, obviously, the other thing I forgot to mention, MacBook is just not even mentioned here, so there's that. But, and yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And again, if you have applied for this program, if you've gotten any feedback from Apple or any response, any sort of ultimatums, anything like that, if you've been accepted into the program, please do let me know how it works. Please do let me know how they treat you. Please let me know what your thoughts are. My email is lewis@rossmangroup.com, spelled with 2 S's and 2 N's. And there is an O in Lewis. And that's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. Thank you for watching.